Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're here for the first time, thanks so much for joining me and checking out this video. We're going to be doing a candle review today, but my channel is basically home fragrance, candle reviews, things of that nature. So if you like all that, hopefully you'll consider subscribing and getting alerted to new videos I have coming very soon. But again, glad to have you guys here, and we're going to be talking about Frosted Spice today. This is a new holiday candle from Kringle, and before I get started, I do need to let you guys know I am a Kringle Candle ambassador, and the holiday collection this year, including this one, was gifted to me for my review. I will always give you my honest thoughts. I also do have an ambassador code that you're welcome to use to get 15% off kringlecandle.com purchases, qualifying purchases. It's generally non-sale items, but that code is simply scented, and I am eligible to receive a commission off of that code use, so please only use it if you're comfortable with that. And I will have the full disclosure in the description of this video here. Feel free to ask any questions, and I want to thank you guys if you do use that code. I really appreciate it. I pour it right back into content like this. So like I say, if you have any questions, feel free to ask, but all the information along with the code is in the description. And let's just get started with this review. Kringle describes Frosted Spice as crisp, cool, icy mint leaves, mellowed with frosted pine boughs, warmed with crushed cinnamon bark, amid glittering notes of soft nutmeg and aromatic clove bud. We have top notes of aromatic and spice, mid notes of cinnamon, fir, and peppermint, and base notes of mint and vanilla. So what drew me into this fragrance was the fact that they took two sort of classic elements here with your cinnamon and spice and combined it with mint. And I'm a big mint fan, but I've never really seen any other examples of mint and cinnamon being used in this way. If there is any out there, please let me know. But personally, in my travels here, I have not found this sort of combination before. So I was a little intrigued, not sure what to expect. And on cold sniff, I kind of felt similar. Cold sniff, I got a lot of the cinnamon, red hot cinnamon, very, very strong on that spiciness. And then kind of a sort of background of mint. It was there, but the cinnamon was dominating. I didn't get too much else that they mentioned in the description on cold, but yeah, cinnamon and mint were kind of coming to the forefront. And it was almost a little reminiscent of Big Red Gum, which I know is kind of like a cheapy type of reference here, but I mean, that was honestly the first thing that popped into my head. And I was still very skeptical on cold, but I said, you know what? It's very strong. Let's light this up and see what happens. And burning, I really found that, you know, it works for me. I don't consider myself to be generally a fan of red hot cinnamon. It's not something I hate, but it's also not something I gravitate towards. So I was kind of surprised how much I found that I enjoyed it. And I do want to talk a little bit about, you know, the evolution of this candle. So first burn at the start, I was getting a lot of that red hot spicy cinnamon when I was kind of really close to the candle. But as I would move away from it, I was starting to pick up more of the mint note. And it was kind of a strange sensation happening where, you know, close to the candle, I'm getting more of that cinnamon. Farther away, I'm getting more of the mint. And I said, all right, let's see how this plays out through the burns, because it did change a little bit from that first burn and things did become a little bit more cohesive. I would say probably about three burns in, I really found its groove with this candle. So you've got your red hot cinnamon, you've got a nice mint. It's not, it's definitely peppermint. It's not like wintergreen or anything like that. It's very kind of fresh, very, not super sweet, more of a fresh peppermint. And as I kind of got down into this burn, a little more of that vanilla started to kind of peek its way through, making it a little bit more cohesive in that way of combining that cinnamon with the mint. But I would say really overall, the cinnamon does remain the star here, kind of complemented by a little bit of clove. It makes it a little bit, I think, more more pungent of a spice. If you caught my winter spice review, I talked about how that spice was really toned down and mellow. This is kind of the opposite of that. This is very pronounced spice. This is, you can't miss it sort of spice. You know, it's definitely there. So if you're looking for more of a spice punch, I think this is probably the better option for you. But, you know, getting back to this one here, the one thing that I have not found through this burn, and I don't know if any other ambassadors or reviewers have mentioned this, because really, guys, I don't watch other reviews or read too many other reviews until I've done mine, because I don't like to kind of cloud my own opinion with too much outside noise. I try to make sure I'm giving you what I truly think that is not influenced in any way. So let me know in the comments if others have picked up on this note, but I'm really not getting any sort of fur with this. And, you know, there is something sort of Christmassy about it. You know, there is something here in the background that I can't quite put my finger on, but it doesn't scream a tree note to me or to my nose. And, you know, if you didn't have it in here, I wouldn't have made that conclusion myself. So, you know, please let me know if anybody else is picking that up, or if you've picked that up, if you chose to purchase this one. But really, for me, your red hot cinnamon, a nice fresh cool peppermint in the background, just kind of brightening up that cinnamon, making it a little bit more interesting, giving it a little bit more pop without really being the star here. And then kind of creaming it all a little bit together with a kind of a rich sort of vanilla. It's, you know, not super heavy vanilla, but it is kind of that creamy sort of vanilla. So really overall, you know, a very sort of festive, in line with the holidays sort of spicy fragrance. So if you like scents like Yankee Sparkling Cinnamon, I'm sure will be like probably the most common comparison. I do think this has a little bit more to it than Sparkling Cinnamon, but if you like those types of scents, those really spicy scents, you know, this one's probably for you. If you're not a big fan of mint, you know, it depends. I would say for me, I don't feel like mint puts it off. I don't feel like it stands out enough to really turn off a mint averse person, but you know, that could be different for everyone. And, you know, really the performance though is what I want to talk about a little bit here too. Performance wise, the scent itself is very strong. I'm getting great performance as far as strength and throw from this one. I would say this is probably the strongest of all of the 13 new candles that I have really been able to dive into. Unless there's any surprises on some of the ones that I haven't burned enough yet, I would, you know, cautiously say this is probably the strongest of all 13. And I would put that sort of intensity in the 7 to 8 range. It's not a full-blown powerhouse, but it is very present. It is very noticeable. It is traveling between my open concept space. So from my open kitchen, it kind of wafts into the living room, and I will notice down the hall, up the stairs, getting that drift of cinnamon, you know, most prominently when when you're farther away from it. But yeah, really happy with that in terms of performance. But I do want to point out one thing that I have noticed is that it is burning a bit dirtier or sootier, I guess you could say, than some of the others. So I'm going to kind of turn this jar a little bit so you can see it better. But if you can see here, especially on this sort of top back wall here, there is a slight bit of soot accumulation, and that's more than I usually see with these Kringle style jars. And I think it might be the oils in particular in this one. These are, you know, being very strong notes. Sometimes these spicy ones do have a tendency to soot a little bit more than others, especially when you have a vanilla in there. And I actually did notice the wax on this one is darker, just by a little bit than the others as well. And vanilla oils will discolor a little bit. It doesn't affect the performance well, in terms of fragrance, but I do find that some of those are a little bit sootier. And if you can see here, this is another one. I'm going to try to put it on camera, but just the overall tone of the wax is just a bit darker on that one than it is here. And still, I mean, I've seen a lot sootier candles than this. This is not really bothering me too much, but it is one of those ones that I do keep an eye on, and I do keep my burns kind of limited within that sort of 4-hour time frame. And if I notice it's starting to get a little bit of a mushroomy situation going on, I will dip the wicks mid-burn, extinguish them, and then trim them and relight it just to get a little bit more time. So don't be afraid to do that if you find that you're been burning for a couple hours, you want to spend more time with it, but it's mushrooming. Just I dip the wicks, trim that, and then light it up and keep going. And usually that's, you know, served me pretty well over the years. So yeah, that's my take on frosted spice. I think this is a good one for the spice lovers, a good one for those of you looking for a stronger throw. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I would definitely consider repurchasing it at some point, you know, down the road. But because I'm burning it sort of in those shorter increments, I do think this one's going to last me a little bit longer. So I may not purchase it this year, but maybe next year if it sticks around. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Thanks for checking out this review. I hope you find it helpful. And, you know, if you want to give the like button a click, give the subscribe button a click to get more reviews like this. And, you know, thank you so much for joining. And I hope to be back joining you for another review very soon.